my name is April Lai. I started practicing pediatric dentistry in 2002. I went to Oklahoma State University for my undergraduate, and then I went to the University of Oklahoma, graduated in 1999, then went on to the University of Colorado Children's Hospital Pediatric Dental Residency, and started practicing with Mark Morrow in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I really always wanted to be a pediatric dentist. My kids kind of asked me, what did you want to be, Mommy? Because they want to be professional athletes and things like that. And I just have to say, I really always wanted to be a pediatric dentist. I love my pediatric dentist, and it was always a great experience for me. I was able to intern at his office and college, and he was really a great mentor for me. We've always loved what we do. We love being pediatric dentists, but we just were not very good at putting our marketing ideas into practice. We've been able to implement our ideas and make them a reality. Since using the new approach, it's just brought a lot of new life to our practice. It's increased patients significantly, but it's also just brought our staff loves the common goal that we all have. It's just brought an excitement into our practice that we didn't have before. For instance, last August, we had 114 new patients. Compared to this August, we had 180 new patients. And it's just, at the end of the month, when you count that up, you just can't deny what an impact that this new marketing approach has had on our office. In June last year, we had 85 new patients. In June this year, we had 126 new patients. It's just astounding. Before, we were trying to implement our ideas, but we didn't have access to a videographer, a photographer, a website designer, search engine optimizer. I didn't even know what some of these things meant as far as SEOs and etc. But they have all of those people on site ready to, you just tell them what you want and they can make it happen. They have great ideas. They make you feel so comfortable. They take your ideas and make them real. In the past, we've worked with other marketing firms, companies, but every time they wanted us to do different things, but it involved us doing different things. And in reality, we're just working being pediatric dentists. I just don't have the capabilities to make these things happen sometimes. I don't have the skill set to do good videos or figure out how to put things on my website. So it was really nice just to do the dentistry that we love and have a team that could take care of the rest. I would highly recommend that every dentist embrace a marketing approach. It just, I'm a 44-year-old mom, and I still have young kids, but it's just a different mindset with younger parents these days. They love the digital age, and I was kind of set in my ways. I still wanted to just do print, do it in your little school newspaper, things like that, but that's just not how people are getting their information these days. They're getting it through Facebook, they're getting it through reviews, they're getting it through your website. And even though I'm not accustomed to that, it doesn't mean that I don't need to change with the times. It's just a new age, and whether I look at it that way or not, that's how my clients are. When you embrace marketing strategies, you will see growth, you will see change in your practice, and it is exciting.
Today we interview the two-time undercover boss, Steve Greenbaum, and he shares how you will know when it's time to franchise your business and what it's like to work with the founder of OxyFresh, Jonathan Barnett.
Tis the season to go undercover.
I want to make sure we're here to help small businesses thrive.
CBS Friday.
Please button your shirt.
Looks like he might have been from the 70s.
Find out who's been naughty.
This is one of our major...
Tis the season to go undercover.
I want to make sure we're here to help small businesses thrive.
CBS Friday.
Please button your shirt.
Looks like he might have been from the 70s.
Find out who's been naughty.
This is one of our major failures.
Sorry, man.
You have killed my machine.
Who's been nice.
Can I give you information on Postnet?
What about me? I'm a little bit more handsome,
And who will receive the greatest gift of all.
It's here right now.
We said
I could get up and hug you.
A jolly new undercover boss. CBS Friday.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we'll show you.
Yes, and yes. Dr. Z, it is ecstasy when you are next to me, and on today's show we have a guest by the name of Steve. Steve Greenbaum, what's going on?
Hey guys, everything's great. How you doing?
Man, I'm excited because I've never had a guest on the show with the last name Baum, and I know you spell it differently, but every time that I say Steve Greenbaum, I'm going to hit the bomb button.
Can you say your name when you're in an airport? I mean, because I mean, it must be tough to travel. Do you have to do little private jets? I mean, how is that?
It's awesome. Not a problem.
Oh, good. Well,
Beautiful.
You just never know.
It's just
Because you can't say bomb. I mean, it's bad.
Now, let me tell you about this guest here, Thrive Nation. I want sometimes the introductions need a certain subtlety.
Yes.
A certain clarity, a certain
quality.
Avoirdupois. So I'm going to grab my megaphone real quick.
Okay.
And I'm going to read the announcement here with a certain subtlety.
There you go. Nice move. Nice move.
Here we go.
Very subtle.
Whoa, what? Z?
Change the setting on me there. That's crazy.
No,
Okay,
you
here we
did.
go.
Well.
This is,
Oh, no, that's annoying. Yeah, don't do that anymore. That's just. No, don't do that.
Here we go.
Yes, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we're interviewing Steve Greenbaum, who is the founder of Postnet, a former chairman of the International Franchise Association. And Steve has appeared on season 4 of CBS's Undercover Boss. What? Which can be seen on Netflix in a special episode called Undercover Employee.
Steve, how is this possible, my friend? What life decisions have you made that allowed them to choose you and select you out of all the entrepreneurs? Why did they choose to have you on the Undercover Boss show? That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I think, they look to find people that have a story that people want to hear about and that can learn something from. And so hopefully I was selected because they thought I could add value and maybe help, sort of not only elevate entrepreneurship, but, kind of show how you can do good and do business at the same time.
What was it like to be on the show? I mean, you obviously did a good job. You're on twice. I mean, what was it like? Is it heavily scripted? Is it just they put a camera on like a helmet cam and follow you around? I mean, what's it like to be on the show?
Yeah, well, there's only so many details I can share according to some of their agreements. But what I would tell you is it's a lot of work. It's quite a bit of time on the road. You have very little personal time to yourself. Yes, there is a lot of conversation, communication. They ask a lot of probing questions. They learn a lot about you. They really want to dig deep sort of for your personal why, your personal value proposition. And, it's tough. And sometimes it's tough to get face-to-face with yourself like that. But it was a good experience for me.
Z, my next pre-prepared question, I'm not going to ask it now because I had written down here, what were the names and the social security numbers and the addresses of all the people who worked on the show with you?
Well,
I'm going to skip that.
On the road again, I didn't know. Was it like, do you have to drive? It was like truck driving. Do you hit a lot of truck stops on the way? I mean, is it when you're on the road a lot? Is it like
You're on the road or you fly around? Can you tell us that?
I mean, can you?
No, we were on the road a lot. We flew. What you guys might find interesting is imagine you're in this persona of the character, and the disguise I was in was fairly permanent for the period of time I was in it. And so can you imagine if you've got a good disguise, and if anyone has the time to go look, mine was pretty good, getting through TSA in an airport when you show them your driver's license and then they look at you and go, wait a minute, that's you? And sometimes the producers have to come along and help you get through.
I knew you had trouble going through an airport. I just knew it.
Steve Greenbaum has a problem going through airports.
Greenbaum, this just in.
That's my third bomb of the show. I'm ready to go. I got that button.
Exciting.
I'm trigger happy.
You are trigger happy.
Okay, now here would be my first real deep question, Z, isn't because we kind of transition into the deep part of the show.
Are we at the deep part now?
You've had a lot of success, obviously, and you're continuing to have success. But what was like the very beginning of your career? I mean, what was life like growing up for you? And just tell us where it all started.
Yeah, sure. So pretty humble beginnings. Grew up on the north side of Chicago, area called Rogers Park. Nice community. My parents divorced when I was very young, around 2 years old, and both of them were hardworking people. My mom was a waitress. My dad worked in sales. He was an entrepreneur. He started a number of small businesses. And I think the most difficult part, to be honest, is that they were very much at odds with each other. And, you know, we found ourselves, I had 3 brothers caught in the middle of their drama. I would tell you by today's standards, it wasn't just difficult, it was oftentimes abusive. But I had a great relationship with my brothers. On an interesting note about Steve Greenbaum, that's unusual, I met my best friend. Well, we were too young to know each other, by the way, but my mom came into the hospital to have me. As his mom was leaving, they shared a room for about a day, became friends, and we grew up together, went to kindergarten together, went to grammar school together. So my best friend literally has been in my life since I was born.
See, who else can say that?
Not many.
I'll
Not many.
tell you who
cool.
can say that. Steve Greenbaum can say that, Z. Now, Steve, when did you figure out what you wanted to do professionally? I mean, there's a lot of things. Z, he could have become a professional bowler, or an amateur bowler. He could have been a bowling, the guy at the bowling alley who rents you the shoes.
It sprays him. He
could have been the pretzel vendor at the bowling alley. Devin, you've been to the bowling alley. I mean, there's a lot of key positions there. He could have been the bartender at the bowling alley that's open one night a week in Broken Arrow.
Could be a pin setter.
He could have been a pin setter, a pin maintainer.
Ooh.
He could have been one of those ball cleaner guys. He could have been the guy who puts the rose inside the ball, like in the movie Kingpin. Why didn't you go bowling for a profession? And when did you figure out what you wanted to do professionally?
Yeah, well, actually, ironically, I did bowl as a kid, and probably spent too much of my hard-earned money bowling. But but to come from kind of a tough upbringing like I did, I kind of found work to be the release for me, and I love to work. And so from a very young age, preteen, I shoveled snow in the winter. I raked leaves in the fall. I did lawn mowing and had a service, and I loved not only doing the work, and it kind of gave me a great kind of headspace to operate in, but looking back at the work, quality work, and taking pride in it. I don't care what it was, and so I think that's something that really kind of was created my clarity. I started working full time at 15 years old. And I've done a lot of things, from digging ditches and working in service departments to moving into sales roles. And actually that's where I really shined. And actually worked with my dad in some of his businesses that he developed. But I kind of knew early that I loved, again, that idea of, hard work and the results that you get from it. And through working with my dad, the idea of helping people get started in business and succeed in business, that just resonated with me and kind of probably kicked off my post-net career.
What did your dad do for a living, and where were you based in the United States?
Yeah, so Chicago.
Oh,
the Bears.
Yeah, north side of Chicago.
Holy cow!
Holy cow! Thank you, Harry Carey. Sorry about that. Harry Carey just wanted to say something.
Harry Carey was kind of an icon in my life at that time. Not only that, but the Cubs. But my dad started a bar, started a large chain of educational schools, started several different business opportunities.
Yeah.
He was probably the best salesman I've ever been around in my life, and he was, interesting role model as a person, but an exceptional role model as an entrepreneur.
Could you tell me about your relationship with the Cubs? Were you a big fan of Ryne Sandberg, Sean Dunston? Were you deep, dark into the Cubs lore? Did you care? Was it casual? What was the relationship like with the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, so my relationship was huge, but you're revealing my age, because my relationship was with Ernie Banks, Ron Sano, Don Kessinger. Yeah, so the Cubs, I was a Cubs fan in the 70s.
You can go as deep into this or as shallow as you want. You can punt if you want. I just want to ask you. You mentioned that your dad was a great role model in business, and maybe interesting was the word. Personally, could you? Because I think there's some listeners out there. See, we all come from families, many of which have come from divorces, families where they haven't had a great role model as a mom or a dad, and somewhere we have great role models. Or sometimes it's confusing because someone can be great in one area and bad in another area. When you said interesting, what does that mean?
Yeah. So what it means is that having divorced parents, oftentimes we didn't see my dad for long periods of time, or it was weekend visits. And so he was in and out of my life really until about my teens or maybe a little bit later on. So, where a lot of kids maybe had a father to turn to for advice, a father, I really kind of grew up with a weekend father and sometimes not even a weekend father. So that was what I can tell you is, what I learned from him about the way to treat people, how to run businesses. And listen, I will tell you, he was a big, bold figure. I don't agree with everything he said and did, but he had the courage of a lion. And I saw him make decisions and move on and go after what he wanted in a way that I think really inspired me.
Now, you started Postnet in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1992. And we're always curious about the founding of companies. Postnet became a huge company, but there's something magical, Z, about starting a company. Z, do you remember when you started your optometry clinic?
Oh yeah, it's just fantastic.
Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you both? Talk to me about that hair on fire moment when you decided to start your optometry clinic. How many years ago, by the way?
It was the move. 91 is when I started it. So that's 28 years ago.
28 years ago.
28.
Were you nervous, Z, when you started your business?
Oh, I think there's always a little bit of nervousness, but you turn that into performance. Kind of like going on stage. If you don't have a little butterfly in your stomach, then you're probably not taking it serious enough. And so, for me, it was a combination of that, but also that vision that you're going to be successful and do whatever you need to do and work as hard as you need to work to make it happen. So, that was the good old days. But that's a hot second ago.
When you bought a bank, were you nervous?
Well, I wasn't until we closed on it. Then, like the next month, we have the Great Recession. It's like that's good timing.
Right. All right. So we're going to Las Vegas here. The year is 1992. We're going back to 1992 with Steve Greenbaum. Yes, folks. Here we go. So, Steve, I want to ask you, how did you go about starting Postnet? What is Postnet? What was Postnet? Talk to us about how you started Postnet.
Sure thing. So my father and a business partner and got involved in a retail mailbox rental business. Back at that time, mailboxes weren't available for rent. And so that was kind of how I got introduced to the retail mailbox business. And then we decided to develop kind of an independent mail center concept. Some of you may remember mailboxes, et cetera,
Oh, yeah.
but, retail shipping, mailbox rentals, packaging, gift wrapping, really basic business. And in any event, we launched this independent, non-franchise business, and literally from 1985 to 1991, developed over 400 independent mail and parcel centers.
Wow.
And what was unique, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you said 400?
Yes, 400.
Between what years?
1985 and 1991.
I just want to marinate on that for a second. See, we need to marinate just for a second. Sorry, I just need to. He just said between 1985 and what year? What year?
1991.
1991. He grew 400 something.
That's like
deserves,
you and having children. I mean, that about correlates with you.
That deserves for me to hit the Steve Greenbaum button
one more time.
He just dropped a Steve Greenbaum on me. Okay, Steve Green knowledge bomb. Steve, 400?
Yes.
How did you fund this thing? I mean, did you have like a snow cone stand on the side?
Were you part of the cartel?
Were you part of a cartel? Were you selling bail bonds to shady criminals? Or how did you get the funding to do this?
Yeah, so quite frankly, got a little bit of help with family on getting the retail mailbox business going, opened up several of these small retail shipping businesses in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting commodity at the time because UPS and FedEx did not have delivery to retail, to the community, other than if you wanted to ship a package, you had to go to a commercial area and work in a commercial counter with limited hours. And so the idea of And then if you wanted to rent a mailbox in Las Vegas when it was booming in growth in the late 70s through really the 90s, you had to waiting lists 3 to 6 months. So
really?
Huge demand. We rented out 1,000 mailboxes in a business as quick as we opened them. And so great demand. And what's interesting is we used the capital from the success of the retail stores to fund the independent development and consulting firm, and the success of the independent development and consulting firm formed PostNet, the franchise company. And we never had any debt, no venture capital, no angel investors. This was purely self-funded on the strength of the business model and hard work.
400 locations. What was the hardest part of building those 400 locations?
Yeah, I don't remember a really hard part. I know that doesn't sound very truthful, but we were helping people identify a name for their business and find locations and get trained and open. I guess maybe the hardest part was that people wanted more support. They wanted a collective name or a trademark. They wanted business negotiating, national discount support, and that's what prompted the decision to franchise, quite frankly. Because those independent businesses we've put together have nothing to do with the PostNets that we opened subsequently. We didn't convert those. PostNet started as a new brand, and we built forward.
Talk to me about franchising. What kind of people out there should look to franchise their business, and what kind of people should not?
Yeah. So I'm not sure you asked a question in a unique way. Kind of people that should franchise their business would be people that know and understand the power and the value of a system and trademarks, because the identity and of the business and the brand that you build and the promise that brand creates is critical to the success of the company. And then more importantly, the operating system, how it delivers its products and services and provides value to the customer is number one. The second part of what I thought you might have been asking is, how do you know if you want to be a franchisee or buy a franchise? And that's a different discussion, which I'm happy to expand on if you want to go there.
Let's talk about let's say I have a business right now, and I have a plumbing business. I'm doing about $3 million a year doing plumbing, and people like me. And my company's called something like, Gary's Plumbing.
Yep. But your name's Clay.
Let's hypothetically, in an alternative universe, let's say that.
Okay, Gary's Plumbing.
Here we go. So
bring it on.
Here it is. It's Gary's Plumbing, and I am Gary. And when the phone rings, I answer the phone, and we do have about half of our business is commercial, half is residential.
That's fair.
There's no scripts, there's no systems, there's no checklists. There's just Gary and a group of like 7 or 8 dudes. We're very profitable though, but it's scary to think about what would happen if Gary disappears. It's scary to think what would happen if Gary pieces out. I mean, could the business carry on without Gary? Why is it so scary? Because it's all in Gary's head. Talk to me about how the business owner knows if it's time to franchise, to become a franchise, to build a franchise system that they could sell to, award to other potential franchisees.
Yeah. So I would say to you that if the pure motivation is to build and sell, I don't think that's the best motivation to create a franchise company. If the motivation is to help people succeed in business and in life through franchising and provide a better customer experience, then that's the right reason to do it. And how you would know is not only if you had a very successful business model yourself, but if you were able to create a set of standards and implement a method of doing business, an operation or an operations manual, and you were able to transfer that knowledge or know-how, and again, associate that with a business name or trademark that spoke to your value proposition, that you could build that stands for something more than just plumbing, but would stand for why people should choose you or do business with you over anyone else. So what I would tell you is franchising as a business scheme isn't the best idea. Franchising is a way to help enrich and lift other people up around you and enhance the customer experience. Good idea.
Jonathan Barnett, the founder of OxyFresh, he and I are partners on a couple different ventures. He speaks very highly of you. and I'm not sure if that's because you're paying him, like, maybe you're buying lunch for him every day or something, or what would but for a long time. I mean, I've known John for 12 years, and for many of those years, he's spoken highly of you, and he views you as a mentor. Why have you decided to invest time and Jonathan Barnett specifically? And what kinds of things have you, I mean, I'm not asking you to give intimate details of your relationship, but he speaks so highly of the mentorship you've provided him. If you can recall, what kind of things have you and Jonathan talked about as it relates to scaling and opening more and more OxyFresh franchises?
Yeah, well, thank you for the comment, and I feel, equally strong about him as an entrepreneur, as a friend. He's really an impressive person with respect to the way he looks at business. But a lot of my time with Jonathan, both in the past and even most recently, has a lot to do with looking at the future of the business, at systems, processes, structure, and strategy, because he's a fast-growing brand, and his technology platforms and his value proposition are extremely high. But how to take his company from where he is in size and revenue to the next level. And then Jonathan, of course, and I know because you're involved, is looking at integrating other potential franchise brands to expand the platform. So, again, having the right structure and organization and strategy to be able to ensure that every franchisee and every brand feels like they're the most important brand and franchisee in the system is critical to the success of the company. And that's something that I love to do. That's just kind of how I'm wired. So my work with Jonathan, you've got this incredibly smart entrepreneur that has some of the best tech and marketing technology I've seen in franchising, but tackling a lot of big issues about how to make sure we grow intelligently and properly and ensure that we keep our value proposition strong. So that's the side of the kind of the house I sit on with Jonathan, and it's a lot of fun.
I don't know whether this is accurate because this just in. Some of the things that we read on the internet are not true.
What?
I know.
Stop. That's just wrong. It's mean.
I know. Mr. Internet got kind of upset with us there. But I read that you guys merged with or sold Postnet to MBE International in 2017. What were the big benefits of teaming up with these guys, and why did you decide to move on to a new thing?
Yeah. So it was actually a sale. Really didn't team up with them.
Oh, okay.
And kind of what led to the sale is, many years in our business, and I had a business partner that I had been working with for many years. To be honest, I never really considered selling. I saw myself in that business for the rest of my life. And, it's interesting when you work very closely with someone, and I came to the realization through that process that this gentleman that I had been working with might start seeing his life differently and the way he wanted to do things. And I think that influenced me as well. But, more importantly, Mailboxes, et cetera, was a brand with a lot of international experience, been around a long time outside of the United States. And I felt like there was a good possibility they could bring more value and benefit and opportunity to my franchisees. I thought that by them become a part of even a bigger global whole than we had built, that they'd see better opportunities and strategic advantages. And I'll tell you, many of the folks that I had put into business, some of them are some of my dear friends today. So it was way more about, as much about purpose for me as it was about profit, quite frankly. And then, as the idea of maybe doing something, selling the business, started to kind of percolate a little bit, I started to become a little bit curious about what might be next for me. And this is going to go deep and maybe personal as well. But when you're a self-made founder and you go into business and you bring in a team and you kind of put your flag in the ground and, you're the CEO and you grow it, for me personally, as someone that's a student of the franchise business, I always kind of wondered what kind of mettle would I have in a different business, in a different industry? What kind of CEO am I really, versus just a guy that grew up, found a business he loved, and put his heart and soul into it. So I think that curiosity had a big part in why I made the decision to sell.
And so now, rumor has it, you're not just sipping Mai Tais on the beach there. but you started this new thing called full contact franchising. Do you teach football players how to become better linebackers, or what do you guys do at full contact franchising?
Yeah, no, actually, full contact franchising is a concept that I have kind of evolved with over the years because, my analogy is franchising is a full contact sport. Now, we know it's not sport when people invest their life savings in a business and they partner with a franchisor, and both sides are working for a great customer experience. So it's kind of a bit of a stretch on the analogy, but the idea is that it's interdependent and both sides really need each other to be successful in business. And my idea of full contact is all in the business, open and honest with franchisees, facing issues, challenges, and opportunities head on in an open, honest, and constructive way with your team and your franchisees, and building a very healthy, cohesive organization. And so full contact just resonates for me because most franchisors not only struggle with growth, they struggle with managing growth, technology, HR, as it relates to employee retention, competition. And I really felt after developing a brand over a multitude of decades and weathering a lot of storms, economic and otherwise, that was a space, that was the calling I kind of talked to you about in the beginning.
So you work with franchisors, am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Z, this just in. I get 1 mega point.
Here we go. Wow. That's
well,
impressive.
I'm tracking with it. When you have a guy like this on your show, Steve Greenbaum, sometimes you find yourself thinking about, when should I hit the bomb button? When should I pay attention? Can I do both at the same time? Probably. So I've been trying to do both, and so I've been mentally ambidextrous. I mean, how many times are we gonna have a bomb on the show? A green bomb.
Let me think about this. Let me think. Hold on.
Is Marty Greenbaum? Is Marty Greenbaum your brother?
He is.
We gotta get Marty on the show. There may be 2 bombs.
I mean, we could. You know what? We just need to do a Google search of green bombs and just get any random green bomb we can on the show.
See, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna turn the mic over. I'm gonna let you now interrogate our guest because we've started from the bottom. Now we're here. Now it's time for the part of the show. A lot of times Z gets sort of rude and hostile. He gets out a lot of times we have in-person guests. He'll get out the light bulb, just the one light bulb. Take him to a room. He'll do the whole good cop, bad cop thing. Z, ask anything you want. Anything goes at this point.
Okay, Steve, I'm going back in the interview just a little bit because Clay skips over the juicy parts.
Yeah,
he just, he does.
I'm a juice skipper.
He's a juice skipper.
That's what I do.
I'll call it what it is. So the character that you did on the show, the 70s motorcycle guy, that is a great outfit, by the way. Was that really, did you just give them an old picture of yourself and say, just do me up from the 1970s? Is that what that is, really?
Yeah, no, actually, great question, Z. What happened was they did actually ask me what you wanted to do, and at the time when I thought about it and talked to some of my kids, they said, how about Game of Thrones? That would be very cool.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Look at this character.
So they had you to dragon outfit?
So that was kind of the motivation for the look. But what happened was when we did the first kind of run at the disguise, one of the producers kind of looked and said, well, you know what? I think we could kind of mix this up a little bit. And something else you guys don't know about me is I'm a private pilot. I have several motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles since I was a kid. Scuba dive. I do a lot of kind of
there we go.
Put yourself out there stuff. And I think they found that interesting. So that motorcycle persona kind of evolved out of that Game of Thrones look and some of my personal hobbies.
Is that a real tattoo in your right arm, or is that a fakie?
No, that's a real tattoo.
Yeah, and what is it? Because you can't see it in this picture that I have. Is that a?
Yeah,
it says mom, or what is it?
I'm a Leo, and it's kind of my persona, quite frankly.
Nice. And what was the name? What was the name? I didn't watch the show, but what was the name that you went under? What was your stage name?
Believe it or not, I can't remember the last name, but his name was Brad, and there's a story about that because one of the best PR firms in franchising is called Fishman Public Relations. And Brad Fishman, who's been a friend for 25 years, not only said, hey, this is something you ought to consider, but also recommended me to Undercover Boss. And, of course, they loved it, and that's how I got there. So I named the character after Brad.
Yeah, perfect. So you actually knew a Brad. That was another question I had for you. That's kind of fun. So let's get back. Let's get back over to Full Contact. So what is your goal with Full Contact? What do you see it doing and changing the world and helping the world be a better world?
Yeah, thank you. So I see Full Contact being an organization that creates balance and healthy, sustainable, profitable growth in franchise organizations. I know that's a mouthful, but the idea of balance and the logo that we're developing is kind of a yin-yang. And the idea behind that balance is that, again, you've got this franchisor-franchisee relationship, and it can be tough at times for both sides. And the franchisor has some responsibilities like protecting the system and the trademark that kind of create a little bit of imbalance every now and then.
Sure.
So my goal behind Full Contact is to help companies navigate that balance and, again, build very profitable, sustainable, successful companies. Franchising is a wonderful business when everyone's succeeding. If one side or the other is leading in the success, it doesn't work. So my idea behind Full Contact is really lift organizations up, help them really operate better and more effectively and more profitably. And to be honest, I was so buried and immersed in Postnet for the better part of my business career that I really oftentimes put the business before myself and sometimes before my family. So one of my goals in Full Contact is to help, young and emerging brands and even established brands recognize that to be great at the business, you got to be great at taking care of yourself and your family too.
Absolutely. So if I'm a business owner listening to right now, and I've got a slick little business that I think, I think I want to franchise this. At what point in the process should I contact you? Should I wait till I've got 10 stores and I've got a huge problem and I'm one of my franchisees wants to throat punch me and I need a call? I need a guy that a jet can fly in and fly me out of there quickly. I mean, at what point in the process should I contact you?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say that, listen, I probably would be happy to be a resource to people that are thinking about franchising, but it's really not the space I'm in right now. There are a lot of companies and law firms that help people decide if franchising is right for them. So that's not really the space I've kind of gone after. Not that it's something I wouldn't consider for the right brand or the right opportunity, but I would say that if you're 10 or 200 locations and you either want to focus on growth, strategic and competitive advantages, really adding and building value not only for the organization but the people that are a part of it, that's really my sweet spot. Because to your point, what happens is people get into franchising a lot of times with the right notion or the right ideas, and they find themselves in a business where that you've got 10 or 50 people that have invested either their life savings or leverage some capital from their retirement accounts or whatever it may be, that are relying on them to help them succeed. So, the notion of franchising is really sexy. Oh, I'm going to create 100 or 500 or 1,000 of these. The responsibility of doing that properly and effectively, and doing it in kind of a fun and holistic way where you're building success with people. Because when it goes bad, it goes bad. It's very bad.
Wait a second. So, you mean it's just not all kumbaya between a franchisor and a franchisee? I mean, it's not just like a love, kumbaya, I mean, they're not just sitting around and hey, give me a little songbird. You got my board shut down here.
I have your soundboard muted.
I mean, it's not just, hey, it's your franchisor just checking in with you, buddy. How's it going today?
It's doing great. It's awesome.
Record sales again?
Hey, of course. I appreciate you for reprimanding me for misusing the logo.
I knew that was going to be a home run.
Thank you so much for telling me. Wow. I appreciate you for holding me
You're
accountable.
You're one of my favorites, by the way.
I appreciate You're the best.
But I've got a lot of favorites, so don't get too caught up on that.
All the money I have, I just burn it to heat my house because I feel guilty.
Of course you can buy my lunch again today. That's not everything that goes on. It seems like that's the way it'd be.
First of all, wow. And what I would tell you is that when franchisees feel valued and included and respected and they're making money, it goes a lot like that. And I think there's a lot of mutual respect and mutual appreciation. When the business model is challenged or it's tough to make money or a a competitor comes in and challenges the validity of the model, or maybe even starts to eat up market share, the relationship can change dramatically. So what I would say to you is it's a huge responsibility to franchise. This is not like investing. This is making a decision to be responsible for following through on brand promises to people, and always striving to improve. I guess what I would tell you is franchising is a journey. It's not a destination.
Ooh, nice
and every time you think you've gotten there, the destination moves, or you're not being relevant and competitive.
Okay, before I kick you back over to Clay, because he's got some hard-hitting stuff he wants to hit you with.
Hard-hitting.
You did keep that look, right? I mean, you did keep the long hair and the dark beard. I mean, you did keep that, right? I mean, you did go back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but my wife wanted me to.
Well, there you go. Hey, honey, it's biker Steve this weekend, if you know what I mean.
Whoa.
So, hey,
Shunda. Wow, we're gonna have to transition right there. It's something romantic that just happened there. That's like it was a marriage tip for somebody out there. Now, I want to mention this because we talk about the relationship between franchisors and franchisees, and we have time for 3 quick questions. But I want to share something that happened with OxyFresh that was not so awesome, but it's awesome now. When John Barnett and I met each other in college at Oral Roberts University, mailing things was a thing, mass mailers. And so when OxyFresh really took off, JB was using the latest, greatest technology at the time. Do you remember like Yellow Pages and mass mailers?
Oh, I'm old enough I remember all that.
And that was the deal, like those Valpak blue mailers and Yellow Pages. It was hot.
Sexy.
And all of a sudden, this thing called Google started being used. And Steve, were you at the event where JB asked me to come and speak about the National Ad Fund? Were you at that event, that annual conference?
I wasn't, but
oh boy! See, he asked me. This is what he said. This is what he said to me. He said, "Clavis, my good friends call me Clavis." He says, "Clavis, you need to come in and help me deliver a message." I said, "What's the message?" He says, "Well, we're going to have to charge a national ad fund for the first time, which is an extra, I think it was 2% or something. We have to charge all franchisees to cover search engine optimization, online marketing, and digital enhancements, a single sign-on." And I'm going, so you want me to speak as the motivational guy, to come up and speak after you tell people that you're raising their fees by 2%, or before? Because if I go before, then that's an easier sell than after. I went after. So he got up there and talked to people about why he was going to raise the fees, and most people were going, "Are you kidding me? Serious?" No, you could almost sense that the corporate feeling was,
oh yeah.
And I'm just like, hold strong, buddy, hold strong. And he had all these facts going for him, and these people were a lot of these people they built their business based off of mailers, but he was adapting, and he's a little bit ahead of the curve of the average person. But if he waited until everybody had consensus, it wouldn't have happened. Now OxyFresh dominates Google search results. A lot of their business comes in from online marketing, and it really changed the game. But it can get difficult, and thankfully in his system at OxyFresh, I would say the vast majority of the franchisees wanted the change, were encouraged by the change, needed the change, but there were still people in there who said, the internet's never going to catch on. We can't make this change.
Yeah, I mean, Al Gore, thank you, but no thanks.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have mad respect for guys like you and JB who've done very well in the franchising space. We have time for 3 quick questions, 2 of which are coming from me and 1 from Dr. Z. Steve Greenbaum, what is a book that, for the listeners out there who have a lot of questions about the franchising world or just scaling a business, what is a book that you would recommend for all of the listeners?
Yeah. So I would tell you that, talking about digital marketing, I think Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk is probably one of the best books on succeeding in online marketing, and speaks a lot to what you talked about with JB.
Yep.
So I think Crushing It's a great book. And then the other is Start With Why with Simon Sinek, who I think does a great job of helping people to understand the difference between manipulation and inspiration in businesses, and talks about how inspiration is really the right tool for growing a business. I think those are 2 great books, no matter what business you're in.
Okay, and then my final question that I have, and I'll let Z wrap up the show with this final hard-hitting, always offensive, always across-the-line question here. Your idiosyncrasies. Entrepreneurs have idiosyncrasies. Steve Jobs wore the same thing every day. Barack Obama started to wear the same thing every day during his presidency. Elon Musk is famous for working 100-hour work weeks. Everybody's got their own thing. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing every day. Sarah Blakely likes to wear her own products. Talk to me about this. What is an idiosyncrasy that you have that you believe has allowed you to achieve success? Maybe a superpower that some might consider to be a eccentric idiosyncrasy.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything that interesting. I would tell you probably my 3 superpowers would be attention to detail.
Got it.
Urgency, which is something, I'm incredibly urgent, and passion. I think passion is a superpower.
And I hear that from JB all the time, that you are a man of passion. And if you're out there and you have a franchise, I'm just telling you, and you need someone to kind of coach you to the next level, I've known JB. How long have you known JB, by the way? How long have you and John Barnett known each other?
Oh, my gosh, since he started franchising, so that's got to be 13, 14 years, right?
Yeah, I feel like I've been hearing about you for a long, long time. And you're busy, and I'm busy too. So we met, I think one time we did a handshake up there in Denver, or maybe a couple times. But I hear great things about you all the time, and so it's a real honor to have you on the show. Dr. Z, we have time for you to take the show to the next level. Or to the bottom. I mean, you could go up to the top.
Let's do both.
To the bottom.
Let's do both.
Like a tornado
like
of
a roller
emotion?
coaster. More like a roller coaster.
Roller coaster of love. Say what?
So, okay, 2 hard-hitting questions. One.
Your love is like a roller coaster, baby.
See where they go? That's the DJ Clay. There we go. There's DJ
Sorry.
Clay. Clavis. For us that know him, Clavis. Were you happy with the ending of Game of Thrones, to be honest?
Yeah, I was. I thought it was interesting. I know a lot of people had different opinions about it, but the answer is yes.
You were happy. You were pleased.
Yep.
You're on a scale of 1 to 10.
mean,
You're like a 9.3. I mean.
I was. Let me just say I was fine with it.
Okay, well, fine and happy are 2 different things. Here we go. Okay, the last question.
Roller coaster.
You're going back in time. We're going back in time with this song. So this question is about going back in time. You could go back in time, say 20, 25 years. You're starting Postnet. You're starting all your business. You're starting all that business. You're starting the roller coaster. You're just getting in the cart, about the beginning of the ride, shall we say. And you get a chance to sit next to yourself and give yourself advice while you're on the ride. The roller coaster's going up and down and round and round, spinning and all that. What would you go back and tell yourself, say 20, 25 years ago? What would you say to yourself? You say self, fill in the blank.
Yeah, I would say self. Make sure you make more time for yourself, more time for your family, and no matter how much you love this business, if it consumes you to the extent that others sacrifice something, then you got to make a change.
See, that was good.
That was good. We hear that more often than not.
See, we do. Yeah. We hear this all the time. And I would say if you're out there today, a little self-check here. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, rate your satisfaction right now with your life in the areas of your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. Your faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, and fun. Because you might be super buff. See, we've all met guys who are super buff.
So pumped up.
And you're like,
I can lift the
hey,
world.
so how's your son? I don't know who my son is. I forgot his name.
Do I have one? I'm not even sure.
And we've all met people who are financially just super successful.
I have so much money I can buy you right now 2
times. And we say,
hey,
how's your daughter doing? And they go, I have a daughter? What?
What is her name?
So we've all met people on different sides of the spectrum. We've all met people that have so much faith and so little jobs. And they're sitting there on the side of the road giving you life tips.
I'm expecting the Lord to get me a job any day now.
They're at the coffee houses right now writing poems.
Yes.
While living off of your donations. We've all seen people, we're all imbalanced in some area. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate your satisfaction with the areas of your faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, and fun. And if you have a 10, that's great. Good job. You're the winner. If you're a 1, we got some room to improve. But don't give yourself a 7. Let's give ourselves some honest assessment about where we can improve. And I can tell you this. One way we can improve this show is we need to have Steve Greenbaum on every day.
Every day.
I mean, every day.
Every day.
It's the Steve Greenbaum Show starring Steve Greenbaum and us.
And every now and then us.
Steve, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are great.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March. March 6th and 7th,
Oh.
you're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place. Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
He's going to be here. I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last, pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second. Would you buy a ticket just to see Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump? Of course you would.
Of course you would.
But we're also going to be joined by Sean Baker. This is the best-selling author, the guy who invented the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's going to be joining us. So you've got Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Eric Trump, Sean Baker. The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 419 people that were here. 419 people.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what? We should probably add on. So we're adding on what we call the upper deck, or the top shelf. So the seats are very close to the presenters, but we're actually building right now. We're adding on to the facility to make room to accommodate about another 30 attendees or more. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. And this is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis.
Sure.
There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. There's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
I should write that down and actually do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and petting
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole. No exaggeration, and I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double, and you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might say, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma, and nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns the. What do you call that? The rental.
Storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump Organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Now, don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.